Looking to enhance the appeal and performance of your gym with state-of-the-art equipment? Look no further than the Gym Administrator. Founded by Sal Corrente, professional wrestling manager, promoter, and author of the great book Bruno Sammartino, the autobiography of wrestling's living legend, available on Amazon.com, the Gym Administrator will spot you on that final rep and assist you every step of the way from purchase through installation, whether it be strength training, cardiovascular training, or performance enhancement. The Gym Administrator works with a wide array of leading vendors and suppliers, carefully selected to meet the diverse needs of your clientele. Service the way you remember it. Contact us at 914-494-1066 or visit our website at thegymadministrator.com, as well as all social media platforms. The Gym Administrator. All your fitness needs under one roof. Scan the barcode at the bottom of the screen to get started today.
The rumors on the damn internet say that, when Kerry was when Pop was arrested, that he came back to your mom asking for him to take her back, or else he would wind up back in jail, and she refused. Could you clear this one up for us, please? Please?
Yes. Yes. So my dad did go to my mom before he decided to take his life. Sorry. And ask that they put their family back together. He was basically begging her to put the family back together. But my mom, who's a very strong woman and who is very protective of her two young daughters and herself too, she said, you have to be clean for it to, for us to be back together. So she wanted daddy to be clean. And he also still had another relationship with another woman. And, that wasn't right. So anyway, daddy was pretty upset about that and threatened that he was going to kill himself. And, my mom's a smart woman, and she could tell that daddy wasn't clean, and that it might have, the cycle might have continued had she, given in, while he was still suffering so greatly, and I think she could tell that he had been using that day too. So that wasn't helping things, but she loved him so deeply, and still to this day, I'm sure she has a little bit of, guilt in there. I don't know, but yeah, that's, hopefully I just answered that question.
No, you did. You did.
Yeah, he wanted to put the family back together, but.
Guys, my internet went out before. Did you guys talk about Chris at all?
No, but I was going to ask that. Hollie, do you believe in the, and look, it's always been talked about amongst wrestling fans, do you believe in the Von Erich curse?
No, I think we have a loving God, and he gives us the ability we get to make our own choices. That's the great thing about the God that we have. That's what makes us human. And so, yeah, I don't believe in the Von Erich curse. No, thank the Lord, it's not real.
Yeah, agreed.
Because we're all doing great. This generation's doing well. We all have our own struggles, like everybody does, but we handle them a little bit differently.
Hollie, I wanted to ask you about Chris, because Chris is the one brother that seems to always be left behind, whether from a wrestling fan because he wasn't this enormous great wrestler, or even in the Iron Claw decides, hey, there's none of. Can you talk about your Uncle Chris at all?
Yeah, he was really funny and witty too. He was very protective. He wanted to be just like daddy. I can remember him and daddy working out in the the big gym in the barn a lot. And every morning when I was at Mimi and Granddad's, I remember him walking in the kitchen and saying, "Am I getting bigger?" You know, asking my Mimi or me and like, you know, at me or at Kristen especially, "Am I getting bigger?" He wanted so bad to be a wrestler. Like he just had it in him more than probably any of them did. And yeah, it's so heartbreaking that those steroids, you know, for his asthma, stunted his growth like that and weakened his bones like it did. But yeah, he was really protective, like I said. Um, Great artist. I mean, could do like this pencil art where you do like a whole bunch of dots and it would look like a real, you know, portrait of like an Indian or something. Really fast Americans and Native American art. And he had this hill on the ranch in Edom where he had like a totem pole, and yeah, he had an aquarium in his room with cool fish, and he'd have his drawings up on the wall, and arrowheads. He was so excited to show us arrowheads, and he loved animals. He had a flying squirrel cage on the property that he'd take us to go see. Yeah, it was a good uncle. I remember when he died. I remember I was at my Aunt Barbie's house. My Uncle Sean wrestled with Daddy. I don't know if you remember the Simpson brothers. They wrestled with WCW with my dad. But we were at Aunt Barbie and Uncle Sean's, and me, Daddy, and Mommy were laying on the futon bed, I think, in their guest bedroom. And Daddy got the call that Uncle Chris had died, and it was just horrible. And I think we immediately like hopped in the car, Daddy did, and just like went wherever that was. But yeah, it was really weird, you know, sitting in his room after he passed away. And yeah, I was really little, but my cousin Kristen like took it really, really hard. They were like best friends. Yeah, 22 years old, something like that.
Shame. How's your relationship with your sister, Lacey? You guys seem like two very different
close.
people. Very close. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we are. We're super different people, but we know how to have fun together. Lacey and I have always been close. We, you know, growing up, it was me and her against my mom. I mean, I had a great mom. I have a great mom, but you know, she had us young, and when Daddy died, she had to be a single mom. So she's working all the time, and so Lacey and I were kind of latchkey kids, and so we were always together, obviously fighting and torturing one another. And then when times would get hard, we would have each other to hug, you know, and talk to. And my sister spent a lot of time grounded as a kid. And so I'd be in her room and hanging out with her. And so, yeah, so we're just bonded really tight, just from, you know, losing our dad young, and then our mom kind of doing the best that she could, but not always being able to be there for us. So, yeah. And then now as adults, she's in California. I wish she was closer, but she's doing her thing out there. She's in London right now visiting my nephew. But yeah, we're total opposites. I mean, she's like crazy, off the wall, says whatever. I try to keep it together as much as I can and try to be a little bit more composed, but she makes me laugh like no other. I mean, I have the best time with her. I think that she's the closest thing to Daddy here on earth, you know, like her personality wise and the way she has no fear. So I love that. And I love that she always is thinking when she does something crazy, like, would Daddy do this? Which is good and bad. And the way that she like parents her kids and is an aunt to my kids, and she's like, you know, this is something Daddy would do. We should do it, you know. I love that. But yeah, she's in town for not too long ago for a funeral, and we went and did redneck karaoke and had a good old time dancing together. And yeah, she's fun.
Jimmy, redneck karaoke. What do you think of that? Redneck karaoke.
Right over here, right down the road here on Back Beach. We're going to be at Foghorns tonight. Why don't y'all come on down?
Holly, your sister said something pretty telling on the show that I watched last night. She said,
yeah,
it almost wasn't worth it. So again, I like to listen to what people actually say because it's kind of telling. So
Yeah.
what do you think of that comment? And let me ask you this just to advance on the question. If you could turn back time, would you rather your family not be this famous family and just have this giant unit together? Or do you feel things happen for a reason
Yes.
and this is what we got?
No, I would have, I mean, no regrets, right? Like God's will has been done. This is what it's supposed to be, right? We are also given choices though. And could it be different? Yeah. And yes, I wish that things were different. I would have rather not been such a famous family and have my dad and my uncles and everybody around. Of course, yes, I would. Yes. Yeah, I would. I wish Daddy would have never gone to WWF, if we could say that. I think WWF is really hard. The travel was too hard. The schedule is too hard. When you're already battling with mental illness and then you throw lack of sleep and drugs and away from your family and your friends and the people that love you the most are that lonely. Yeah, I would want to take that all away. But um I think when Lacey said it almost wasn't worth it, she meant it wasn't worth it. And that's what she means. It wasn't worth it. I think, and Lacey is more like quick to just say F that, like, which is part of what's so great about her. You'd never wonder what she's actually thinking. So yeah, I think she meant it's not worth it. And I think that she does harbor some resentment towards Granddad from what she knows. He was a loving granddad towards us. He was amazing. Great granddad. But I think the way that she knows that he might have been harder on my dad and my uncles, I think she's just like, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it to put your kids through that. But
Do you
Holly,
go
I
ahead,
don't know.
Jeff.
I don't think Granddad
Yeah.
was trying to be.
Holly, when you see your sister deciding to go, break into the business and stuff, what are your initial thoughts considering everything that's happened with the family? Are you afraid for her to get involved in the business? Like, what was the conversation like when you realized, wait a
Yeah.
minute, she's going for it? What kind of conversation did we have with her?
Well, I think that I think that we were kind of like, okay, this is better than what you were doing. So just to like, if that would have been the first thing, we would have probably been like, whoa, are you sure? But before that, she had actually had a contract with Playboy. And we were like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, no, like, why? But she'd been trying to break into the modeling world for a long time, and she's just around skeezy people, I guess. I mean, she got a contract with Playboy. So whenever WWE, I think it was WWE, they got her out of her contract somehow. And so when that happened, that was wonderful because she was out of that Playboy contract. And so to go from that to WWE was like, yes, let's do this instead. But still, we all were thinking, gosh, are you sure? Like, our family is really good about not, my mom's side especially, about encouraging, encouraging and not necessarily saying, no, you can't do that. So, and I kind of wish they were more like, no, you can't do that. But they're always like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll support you. You got this. Where, that we all know that environment, the wrestling environment, is not conducive to healthy habits. And so yeah, we were worried about her. And I think it was good for her, because she, as we've talked about this before, but because she was having to face a lot of her like daddy issues. She couldn't talk about my dad forever. So through wrestling, she kept meeting all these people that knew Daddy and loved Daddy. We're talking about him and saying how she reminded them of him. And so that was really good for her. A lot of healing. But then it was wrestling world, so it was time away from her family. She had so many concussions, which she suffers from some things now from her concussions. And, there were injuries and, there's some drug use that goes on. And yeah, stuff like that.
Holly,
So
did you want to be a
we were a little
a
concerned
wrestler?
with that.
Did you want to be a wrestler?
When I was 8, yes. When I was 8, yeah, I thought that would be fun. But no, as an adult, I never wanted to do anything like that. I think there was a time when I think after the Hall of Fame that when Lacey had her little window, I had my little window if I wanted to do something like that, and it was no, definitely not. I just try to keep it a little classy and no, but there's some amazing female wrestlers out there. You're great athletes and you're doing your thing. That's awesome. Just not for me.